Hi everyone, welcome back to Make Up My Mind. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how to French plait your own hair. I figured out how to French plait hair again about 6 months ago, and then I finally figured out how to do it on myself. So I said I'd share it with a couple because I think it's a really great hairstyle to have, especially when you're doing athletics. It keeps your hair out off your face, but it doesn't look just as boring as a little ponytail. It's easy enough to do once you get the hang of it. It's a hairstyle that you have to do blind, or that I find that I have to do blind, because it's kind of awkward standing in a mirror and bending down and trying to get a view of the top of your head. So it's a little bit fiddly at once at the start, and then it gets easier as you go along. So I know most people know how to French plait, but the reason I'm making this video is because not a lot of people know how to French plait their own hair. So thanks to my lovely partner for holding the camera, and he's going to film this. So I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to be facing that way, so you won't be able to see me, so hopefully you'll hear me talk and I'll shout a little bit louder, and I'll show you how to do there. So I have a natural side parting. I'm not going to use the side parting for this because I think that this braid will be massive and this braid will be tiny, so I'm just going to pull all my hair back and split it down the middle, and then I'm going to make the two braids out of that. So I'm going to sit down and we'll get started. So I'm just going to brush my hair and make sure that it's really easy to work with, because you're going to be pulling a lot of strands, so you don't want too many knots. So I'm only going to do a quick little job on this because I don't want to keep you for too long. So I'm just going to split this down the middle. So I've got two parts here, and I'm going to tie one of them just in a really quick little go-go, just to keep it out of the way on this side. So this is going to be the first one that we're working on. So as most of you know, French plait, you just start with a small section, and then like a regular plait, you're going to split it into three. So you have your two sections there, your two on the outside and your one in the middle. So I'm going to cross these over once, just on their own, so that you get the plait going. And then my method of remembering which strand is going where is that when I gather a piece of hair, it is the opposite strand that I will then be crossing into the middle. So I'm going to gather a little piece of hair in with this strand here. So I know now that once I have that strand with the gathered bit, then this one is going to be the one that I'll be crossing into the middle. So I'm going to cross that into the middle, and I'm going to, this one that has come out there, I'm going to gather a little bit of hair with it. And I'm just going to smooth it out. So now that I have gathered in this, I'm going to cross with this. So this one is now coming into the middle. I usually use the heels of my hand to hold on to this braid and to keep it kind of tight. So now that I've crossed this one, or have I? Yeah, I'm going to gather with this. I'm going to gather a little piece of hair in with this strand. So I've gathered with this one, so I know that the opposite side is about to come in. The smaller the strands that you take, the tighter your braid is going to be. And then if you have your hair about 90% dry after a shower and you decide to do this style, you're going to have a really nice little kinky, groovy kind of hairstyle in the morning. So again, I've gathered in this one, so this outside strand is going to come into the middle. And I'm going to use the heel of my hand there, keep it steady. So, how's it looking, TJ? So I gathered, and now I'm going to, this one is going to be the one that I cross. So again, it's a little bit finicky, and I'm probably not explaining it too well, but once you get the hang of it, you'll really have it down in no time. So I've gathered, so now I'm going to cross, and every time I cross, the bit that goes out to the side then, it's a little extra piece gathered with it. So I'm trying to take sections that are nice and small, because I like that kind of tight braid look. So I've gathered on this side, so I'm going to cross again. So again, just using your knuckles or the tips of your fingers or the heels of your hand, just to keep that braid tight at the start. So gather it in this hand, and I'm crossing and bringing this one into the middle. The only reason that I have this particular method myself is that I'm insanely forgetful, worse than a goldfish. So anytime I try to do this, I'm constantly forgetting how many strands I have and how many crossovers I've done and things like that. So this is just a good method for me to be able to remember where I am in this braid and what's going on. So this one's coming into the middle. So I'm really happy now that my hair is actually long enough that I'm able to do this again. I cut it really, really short and now it's finally getting back to a length where I can braid this, because it's a really nice day look as well when you sleep on this with slightly damp hair. When you wake up in the morning it comes out really kinky, which is good for hair like mine, which just has no basic shape to it whatsoever. It's not really curly and it's not really straight. So once I get down to the end it's a bit easier because the strands are getting thicker and you've only got that little bit of nape hair to work with, just that hair on the nape of your neck. But this is where I have to keep it really tight because I'm kind of working out from the base of my neck. It can get quite loose at the end. And again, I know it's slightly awkward because you're doing it blind, but believe me, practice does make perfect. So if you're sitting there in the evenings and you know you're watching Corrie or EastEnders and you've got nothing to do, just play away with your hair and try and get the hang of it if you can understand my method. And then once you get to the end and all the hair is in, you're just going to make a really simple plait. And then just going to tie it off with my absolute neon orange bobbin or go-go. Yeah, how's that looking? Probably a little bit rough because I've just done it so quickly, but that's the basic of it anyway. So you can see it all going back there. So the smaller the strands that you get, the tighter these bits are going to be, and the more crimped and more kinked that's going to be when you wake up in the mornings. But other than that, it's just a good hairstyle for keeping your hair out of your face, and you are never too old for pigtails. That is definitely my number one. So I'm going to go and take this out now because it looks absolutely ridiculous and my dinner's on. So have a good evening guys, and I'll speak to you during the week.